welcome back to Kevin Reviews. I just finished rewatching the 1993's Jurassic Park. Yes, I was originally going to catch up on the Marvel films. Next one was going to be Thor, but after hearing the news about Sam Neill's passing, I figured it was best to honor him in reviewing this classic of a film. And yeah, so I'm going to give you my review. I'm spoiler warning. It's likely going to be very positive. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But in any case, yes, this is by Universal Pictures and Amblin Entertainment. Is directed by Steven Spielberg and is written by David Koepp and is also written by the author of the book, Michael Crichton. And I don't know how much he had hand in the written part, but his book inspired Steven Spielberg to make this film. The cast includes Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Richard Attenborough, Jeff Goldblum, Bob Peck, Wayne Knight, Samuel L. Jackson, Joseph Mazzello, and Ariana Richards. So, what can I say about Jurassic Park that hasn't already been said? It's iconic. It's a classic. It's it's big. It's grand. It's a huge spectacle and a favorite of Spielberg and a must-watch, especially for younger viewers. Similar to how parents like to show the Star Wars original trilogy to their kids first, so they can be interested in Star Wars. Jurassic Park is about the same. For me, I was not at the right age when it originally released in theaters, which was 1993. Um, but I I was like at least 3, maybe 4 years old, so I would have been very scared of it. I did eventually see the Lost World of Jurassic Park, the sequel, but I ran out of the theater scared because apparently I was not old enough yet to see something like that. It scared me quite a bit. So but I remember like there was plenty of games. I haven't played any of the games honestly. And Jurassic Park is still such a classic. I think there was even a Telltale version of the game or a sequel to it that I don't think got good reception. Even the sequels didn't really get a good reception overall because I don't know. It's just like I mean I don't want to get in too big into the sequels, but a lot of the times I think they just made the sequels just kind of made the characters more stupid and not interesting, and as well as again they don't learn their lesson about just about the dinosaurs, about trying to control it. So I mean we get the same kind of message and stuff over and over again, and even the CGI gets worse over time. It just feels like it's running on fumes. It's mostly just trying to show you more dinosaurs, and that's pretty much the only eye pleasing thing to see is the dinosaurs. That's what gets people in the seats. So I've only seen up to Jurassic World. So yes, I've seen Lost World, the Jurassic Park all the way through, and I've seen Jurassic Park 3. But I think everyone can immediately agree Jurassic Park will always be that classic. It's like lightning that would never strike twice again. Similar to say Ghostbusters. It is just that iconic. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Why don't we get into my review of 1993's Jurassic Park? So the story in Jurassic Park, we have paleontologist Dr. Alan Grant, played by Sam Neill, and Dr. Ellie Sattler, played by Laura Dern, who are at a dig site in Montana. Then Dr. John Hammond arrives, who's the owner of InGen. I think he's the owner of InGen. I might be wrong on that one, so correct me. And he's mainly the owner of the park of his park, Jurassic Park. And he wants Grant and Sattler to come along to basically help sign off on the park while it's under construction after the recent death of one of the workers there. So Sattler and Grant come along, promise to that their promise fund they are promised that their dig will be funded, and they soon come across a lawyer, Gerano. I hope I got the name right. I probably got it wrong. Played by Michael Ferrero, and we have the chaotician or mathematician, Ian Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum, who likes to talk about chaos theory. So when they get to the island, they're shocked to see that there's dinosaurs actually walking around. There's brontosauruses, there's T-Rexes, there's velociraptors, there's all kinds of dinosaurs, Triceratops even, and they're all stunned by how is this like accomplished. So John Hammond shows them through the tour, and they also come across meet up with John Hammond's grandchildren, Tim, played by Joseph Mazzello. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And we have and Ariana and Lex, played by Ariana Richards. So they go through the park. There are some hiccups, but unfortunately, what John Hammond doesn't know is that one of his workers, a disgruntled computer software engineer by the name of Dennis Nedry, played by Wayne Knight, who you might remember played Newman from Seinfeld, is planning to steal the secrets of Jurassic Park by taking the dinosaur embryo off the island. And so, yeah, off the island and to a different company so he can get paid more because unfortunately he's being paid less than what he wanted to be. So yeah, so in order to do that, he had to shut down systems on the island to get to the embryos. But I'm doing so, especially during a massive storm, has let the dinosaurs loose and is causing havoc on the island. So now it's up to the group to basically try to survive and get off the island before they become the dinosaurs' next meal. It's a spectacular movie. Simple as that. It no matter how many years has gone by, it is still a fantastic movie that everyone should see. I mean, I already would give it 5 stars right now. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But it's best I go into the review. Start first. The characters. The characters are great. You got Dr. Grant is a likable, charming character who doesn't like children, but eventually, when meets up with Tim and Lex, he starts and tries to survive along with them. He starts to and warm up to them. But he's very fascinated about dinosaurs. Even when the dinosaurs are still running amok, he's still like in awe at the majesty of dinosaurs actually walking around. He almost like he wants to study them, but he has to pull himself back and knowing that what is happening is not only wrong and also playing God, but you know it's something that he always it's almost like a dream come true for him, especially for a paleontologist. The same thing can be said for Laura Dern. Dern's character, Ellie Sattler. She's kind of all bubbly and excited. Kind of the opposite of Hammond. Again, more optimistic, and both Grant and Sattler have great both Grant Sattler, Neill, and Dern have great chemistry on screen. They're not technically in a romantic relationship, though it's always hinted at that they could be. Oftentimes, Ellie Sattler likes to say, about having kids, um, but Grant doesn't want kids. He doesn't like kids. He even scares a little boy at once with a raptor claw, and yeah, that's often pretty funny. The humor is also great in this. So, but they have great chemistry on screen. I cannot see them like with anybody else. It's on a way. Um, but they have great chemistry overall. Um, and Laura Dern does a spectacular job overall. Who's much like Dr. Grant, just wants to explore and study, but also knows the danger of this place and how it's being its power is being abused overall. Dr. John Hammond is a memorable, likable, charming character who's very driven, very ambitious, but does not see the potential dangers of the park. He wants to feel like he has the control, which, of course, if you know the movie, control the control is an illusion. Um, but he's still a likable guy. He's not evil. He's caring. He cares about his grandkids. He cares about other people. But he's just so driven by wanting to basically share dinosaurs with the world that has long have been gone that we want to study more of. And in a way, we kind of applaud that, but um, yeah, there is potential danger to it. It's not like Disneyland or any other parks where those are dangerous, but at least in a way they are mostly controlled by humans. This is animals overall. Um, and we got zoos, but there's nothing. But for those kind of animals, that can be controlled fairly well. But with dinosaurs, that's another story entirely. So, and yes, and Ian Malcolm eventually figures that out, and Jeff Goldblum is still great. Honestly, if you didn't have the name Ian Malcolm, we just call him Jeff Goldblum. He does have that stutter. He stutters quite a bit. He's a bit of a womanizer who likes to hit on women. Sadler. And we eventually learn on he apparently had he says he has children, but he also has multiple. There was multiple women that he married to. So um, I think I got that right. So correct me if I'm wrong. But he's still a very likable guy, though. Again, sometimes his stuttering and rambling at times can be hard to hear. So oftentimes I like to put subtitles for him because he's it's a bit difficult to hear, honestly. Um, the other characters great. Tim and Lex are kind of often reflect a reflection of Grant and Sattler because based on look and their personalities slightly different, but they're usually the same in a way. I guess they kind of act like the children that that you think Grant and Sattler would have. Tim is great, has just about knowledge and just as curious as Grant, and often likes to joke. And then we have Lex, who is a hacker and a vegetarian, who's not technically into dinosaurs that much, and but she becomes very useful near the end. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of great characters. Even Dennis Nedry, played by Wayne Knight, is a fun character who is is the one you gotta love to hate. And even scream Newman because yeah, he's not a likable. He's not. He's it's a guy you love to hate, honestly, because he basically started the whole park the park fiasco overall, and his greed got the better of him. But he does have some iconic lines. Bob Peck as the hunter. I'm calling him Hunter. I might Mulden. I had to look at my screen a little bit. Mulden, who has some great lines too, and you got Samuel Jackson, the only black character in the movie, but Samuel Jackson still commands quite an authority. He's not like he doesn't shout as much as you see in other films, but he's still there and he's still iconic as ever. So there's a lot of characters here that to like or hate, but they all have charm. They are very charming. They're they're mostly interesting. Some are kind of written off as just one, but what the film does great is they make is Tim as Steven Spielberg makes it as suspenseful yet whimsical film because that's what we kind of want to see. It's like we want to see dinosaurs. It's something that we've always wanted to see, um, especially since they're all long gone. It's like we want to know more about them. They're kind of cool looking, especially the carnivorous ones, and but so it's like given the chance to see the dinosaurs in motion is just quite a phenomenal feat. Um, Regarding the story is uh, for the most part, from what I understand, sort of follows the original book, though it is a, I'm sure they had to basically you know they had to make it somewhat plausible, but it's not really involving mosquitoes stuck in sap that containing DNA. Now, apparently, I think that in a way is true, but um, it doesn't. I don't think the DNA kind of lasts long, especially in their system. So yeah, it's a bit hard to swallow in terms of some story elements, but you don't really care because this is such a grand spectacle. I love the look of the island. It's shot in really a number of places. I'm assuming New Zealand. I think it's even shot in like the California redwoods at one point. Maybe I'm wrong on that one, but it's I love the long shots, the wide shots of the island, the waterfalls. It looks very realistic. And if this film was made today, if we ignore the other sequels and it was made today, everything would have been mostly CGI, and that would take the realism out of it. They try to make it as real as possible. So it is it is great that they did that. They had to use some CGI with some of the dinosaurs, but that's understandable and it's experimental at least. Um, but yeah, it's really great. The music, the theme is such an iconic scene. You cannot get it out of your head. Um, the dinosaurs are well done too. Some of the CGI doesn't exactly hold up for some moments of them, but majority of them does hold up, especially for the T-Rex scene. The T-Rex scene is the most iconic of scenes, both in when we first see the T Rex, and then later at the end when the T Rex gives that 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 pose to basically say when dinosaurs rule the earth. It's so iconic to this see this film done. And yeah, it is a mixture of CGI and practical effects and animatronics, puppetry, uh, and they also and there's also like great iconic moments like the water vibrating every time this T Rex takes a step. Some great lines. "Clever girl" is one of them from The Hunter. The writing is so good. It appeals to everyone, and that's why it's such a classic for many. And so yeah, the characters are great. The story is great, though it has some slight issues um, in terms of accuracy. The effects still hold up for the most part, especially T Rex. So yeah, I'm repeating certain stuff again, and but I like the themes. I like the themes it tackles, the messages it tackles overall about playing God, and uh, that's something that we always have to consider, though we don't seem to listen. Hence, why I mentioned earlier about AI being a big thing, and yeah, we don't even listen to the Terminator films about the dangers of AI. We just want to do it because we want to progress, and I guess without progression, we wouldn't make money. So that's unfortunate, honestly. That's the power of greed and scientists in advancing science, unfortunately. Without discipline, control, and proper controlled ethics, especially ethics, um, things will get out of control, honestly. So yeah, this is still an important film even to this day. Um, if there are issues, like I said, there are some story element issues. Sometimes it's hard to swallow. If I remember correctly, that there's a scene in which Sadler and Lex had to basically hold still so they don't, if they make movement, the T Rex wouldn't see them. That has apparently been debunked as it's a complete myth. So there's also a moment that could have could have been, it could have been illustrated better involving uh, Grant and Sadler trying to keep a Velociraptor from getting into the compound. Uh, but Lex tries to. She's a hacker, and she has to basically turn the power on the doors. And yet we have Tim, who does frankly nothing other than he could have gotten a gun for Grant and Sadler, and that would probably save some time and effort. Um, I think there could have been a good moment where they could have cut a couple things out, like especially Dennis Nedry when we first introduced him. I mean, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's still a great scene, but it's not entirely needed. I kind of would have liked that to been a surprise moment. Like he has some hidden agenda, and that we could have maybe explored a little bit more. That would maybe save some time. Save a little bit more time and explore a lot more of the characters. Kind of wish Samuel Jackson was a little bit more, but he still does a fantastic job. Um, yeah, and there's like an electrocution scene that doesn't doesn't really fly nowadays, um, in terms of plausibility. But I think because it's just such a spectacle, and just we just don't seem to care, and we tend to overlook those kind of flaws. And movies will always have flaws. It's just up to us whether or not we intend to overlook them. Um, I don't have anything else to say other than there are some facts I did look up on IMDb and on another site. Like I wanted to figure out what kind of differences were in the book between the book and the movie. I didn't really care much about the in terms of the plot, whether or not that was going to play a big part. Because honestly, if you're adapting a book, there has to be changes, and sometimes the changes are necessary, regardless of what the book's intent was. And so mainly, I looked at the characters. So, for example, I found out that Grant in the book actually liked children. He didn't hate children, he just liked children anyway. Um, you have John Hammond, who is supposed to be eccentric but yet caring. He loves his grandchildren. But in the book, that's in the film. But in the book, he is a sniveling coward, and eventually, he doesn't have his happy ending in the end. So, and in Ian Malcolm, his fate was left up in the air or left ambiguous because during after a T-Rex attack. Um, and there's several more. I think Tim and Lex also was very is slightly different. Tim was supposed to be the older brother, the older sibling, and Tim was and Lex was supposed to be this be whining, complaining throughout the entire book, as far as what I researched a little bit on. So it's quite different overall. Um, the lawyer, played by Michael Ferrero, I hope I got that right. I might have got it wrong. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember names. Um, but the lawyer also at one point leaves the kids in the car during a T-Rex attack. In the book, he doesn't do that. He actually has a wife and kids, so he actually puts a lot more. He's just is seen as more as the blood-sucking lawyer, who just do anything for for money or for just to survive overall. Um, so there are some differences in the book, quite a bit. And in terms of facts I read up, there's some interesting ones like the effects, especially, was by Tim Bennett, who Panett. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'll put it up here if I get it wrong. But he did work on the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, where he used motion blur or kind of GoPro or Go Vision. I hope I'm getting that right. I'm actually looking this up here. Go Motion. Go Motion is the right thing. Is what he used to make it look like the what's on screen. The CGI not be so jaggy. It's more smooth and whatnot, and it does, and it works off. It pays off really well. Uh, the T Rex weighed about 12,000 pounds, um, or tons. I don't remember. It had a malfunction during the rain at times, and this in the Michael Crichton even said that much of his book or novel was about 20-25% in the movie. So some of it was condensed, like the explanation of the how they managed to clone the dinosaurs. And I'm trying to remember some other things. And I'm looking at this. The guitar strings were used to uh, to create the effect on the water vibration. That classic scene where the T-Rex is taking steps, and is causing the water to shake. They had to use guitar strings to basically pull that off. The dinosaur, the sound design. I forgot to mention the sound design. Sound design was fantastic for the T-Rex, especially. They had to use a number of animals, including a dog, penguin, alligator, elephant, to get the sound that they needed, and it paid off very well. It's intimidating, it's scary, and it's so cool to look. It's so cool to see and hear. Um, but yeah, those are some great facts. Like I said, I checked those out on IMDb, and you're welcome to check those out too. Um, but yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I don't have anything really negative to say. It's a iconic masterpiece. Well, it has some flaws, and especially some line deliveries, and there is some mumbling with like Jeff Goldblum and Laura Dern at one particular scene, which I would say you got to put subtitles on for. Yeah, I have no complaints. This is easily a 5-star film. It's something that is easily rewatchable, and something you got to at least share your kids at the right age, um, so they can join in and talk about the movie and say how great the movie is. There's just so much good stuff in this film overall. And again, like in the intro, thank you, Sam Neill, for what you did. I mean, many other films like The Hunt for October, but especially for this one, for defining our childhood. And I mean, this film even inspired many kids to basically, want to be paleontologists. And even when that happened, like 50 new discoveries happened after that. It got people interested in paleontology at the time when it just started to decline, due to science. And that's what Michael Crichton did for his book was uh, the dangers of advancing science or cloning or biogenetics. The dangers of it overall. Um, so I have to applaud. Again, thank you, Sam Neill, for such an iconic film. I mean, a lot of it also is from Steven Spielberg and the other actors, but especially for Sam Neill, um, who did a lot to help define our childhood in a way. And yes, we want to thank you for that. But in any case, yeah, 5 stars. What are your thoughts on Jurassic Park? Have you read the book even? What are your thoughts on the book? Let me know. I'm kind of curious. I haven't read the book. I'm not sure if I'll ever read the book, but let me know what your thoughts on the book overall. Feel free to subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell so you can be updated on any more future reviews. And again, I do have a Facebook and an Instagram page. Facebook is Kevin Reviews, and Instagram is kevin.reviews.1408. So feel free to follow those pages, and I will see you guys in the next review. Bye.